Thank you. Thank you, Phyllis. Pardon me. Welcome, everyone, and a special shout out to our folks online. My name is Joni Spain, and I come to you today as your board president. Before we get started, you may notice that things look a little different up here. Since purchasing this building in 2005-ish, removing the baptistry has been discussed as a planned project for someday. Well, that day arrived last Monday. Randy Craw and his crew successfully and expertly removed what we've affectionately referred to as the bathtub. However, removing the baptismal left our screen homeless. Randy used his excellent craftsmanship to create this temporary and flexible solution. As many of you know, we have a long-standing committee that's been imagining and planning updates to our facility. This included commissioning a comprehensive report and recommendations from Matthew Architects. That long-range vision includes an artistic and meaningful focal point for the north wall and a modified use of technology. That plan has not changed, but that phase will require a significant financial investment. In the interim, we still need to use this screen. Randy created a temporary solution for us that has the added advantage of providing stability to the slatted wall, which is alarmingly fragile. Everything you see to the left of the slatted wall can and will be modified or eliminated in time, and according to the recommendations of the Chapel Action Team and in alignment with the architect's recommendations. During this process, Randy also uncovered some less than awesome surprises, and those are being addressed. I've asked Randy to prepare and deliver an update at next month's annual meeting, at which time he will answer any questions. I want to say a big thank you, and I want us to thank Randy for his exceptional work on our behalf, and I'd like to celebrate the removal of the baptismal. And now it's my pleasure to introduce today's service leader, Susan Debkowski.
Good morning, everyone. As Joni said, my name is Susan. I'm honored to be your service leader this morning. And welcome, everyone. Thank you for weathering what feels like is minus 19 today. So kudos to all of you for being here. Also want to welcome anyone who's watching the recorded version of this service online. And now I'm going to invite you to join me in speaking our Who Are We declaration. Words are on the screen. We are a heart-centered community seeking spiritual awakening and transformation by deepening our connections with God, self, and others. Now I invite you to stand and let's sing My Soul is Welcome Here.
Just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. In the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here.
be seated. So here at Unity of Bloomington, we are between full-time ministers, and we're calling this our transition period. And we have an affirmation, which I'm going to invite you to say with me. Unity of Bloomington is generating an abundant future in expansive alignment with Spirit. We lean deeply into truth principles, live our faith, and trust the process. Our greatest desire is to be abundant and attract those who value spiritual growth, including our next right minister.
We are gathering in song, welcoming the oneness, opening the doors of Spirit wide. We are walking into light, starting out together on a journey through the miracles inside. There is abundance in our fellowship. This is a place we all belong. We place our trust in this great holiness. This is the moment, come along. We are gathering in song, welcoming the oneness, opening the doors of Spirit wide. We are walking into light, starting out together on a journey through the miracles inside. There is a promise in our thankfulness. We know that when we seek, we find. We place our trust in this great holiness. This sacred space is yours and mine. We are gathering in song, welcoming the oneness, opening the doors of Spirit wide. We are walking into light, starting out together on a journey through the miracles inside. We are gathering in song, welcoming the oneness, opening the doors of Spirit wide. We are walking into light, starting out together on a journey through the miracles inside. On a journey through the miracles inside.
So if you're following along the order of service that's in the bulletin, we're now at a part that's called mystical moment. What is that? Mystical moment. Well, mystical moment is a new practice for us. In our time of transition here at Unity of Bloomington, we're seeing it as an opportunity to kind of shake things up. It might look like renovating and redesigning our physical space, but it's also an opportunity to try different thoughts and different ways of doing things. So to bring to mind new ideas for us to think about, we're going to be having a short modern mystic moment as part of our Sunday services. You know, all faith traditions have a mystical branch. And today we want to look at the question, well, what is a modern mystic? Well, a mystic is a seeker of direct personal experience of the divine through personal practices such as meditation, prayer, or contemplation. Mystics search for deeper understanding of spiritual realities and focus mainly on evolving self-awareness and discovering something deeper and more than just our small s self. Seeking beyond an objective reality for expansion of consciousness is known as exploring metaphysically. Now, metaphysics is a term we use a lot in Unity. What does that mean? It basically means trying to understand that which is beyond or behind a concept. In essence, each one of us is a modern mystic as we search for and experience that personal, one-to-one, deep relationship with all that is. Contemporary mystics don't only sit in isolation at the top of a mountain and meditate. Many of them read, study, and can even be found sitting next to you or on YouTube. So as we try now to think of ourselves as a modern mystic, we'll bring short thoughts to ponder each Sunday. Thoughts from our founders, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, ideas from other philosophies, concepts from contemporary New Thought authors, just a variety of things to think about as we develop our own mystical nature. And now the Unity Choir is going to inspire us with music.
I feel the light of the Christ within me. I feel the power, I feel the glory. I feel the beauty in all that I see. I feel the light of the Christ within me. Fly o'er the mountains or walk across the seas. All good in God's name are realities. I feel the light of the Christ within me. I feel the Spirit of God set me free. I see the light of the Christ within you. I see the magic that Spirit can do. I see your face and I told her it's true. I see the light of the Christ within you. Stop all the wars and combat all disease. Nothing's impossible, I do believe. I see the light of the Christ within you. I know the Spirit of God, tried and true. I feel the Christ, I feel the Christ, I feel the Christ alive within me. I feel the light of the Christ within me. I feel the power, I feel the glory. I feel the beauty in all that I see. I feel the light of the Christ within me. Fly o'er the mountains or walk across the seas. All good in God's name are realities. I feel the light of the Christ within me. I feel the Spirit of God within me.
Thank you, Unity Choir. So, if I were to name one individual who's had the greatest impact on the 40-year history of Unity of Bloomington, it would have to be Reverend David LeBeau. After serving his time in the military, in the U.S. Navy, David LeBeau decided to go to the Unity School of Christianity and complete the ministerial education program. He was ordained as a Unity minister in 1989. It just so happens that in 1989, the small group of us that were Unity of Bloomington had finally grown up to the stage where we were ready to hire our first minister. So as divine order would have it, David LeBeau was ready for his first job. We were ready for our first minister. And I'm honored to say that I was on the steering committee that interviewed and selected our first minister back in 1989. So when David accepted the position, he moved himself, his wife Natalie, and 3 children back to his hometown of Bloomington, Indiana. David continued to serve for 20 years as our minister, not consecutively. The first was 89 to 99 as our full-time minister and spiritual leader. And then between 99 and 2012, he continued to lend spiritual leadership as we needed it. David continues to be a teacher. He's coming to us today on Zoom. Also, he gives us an opportunity 4 times a week to participate in senior yoga. Again, that's an online experience. He's done quite a bit of teaching meditation, and when he taught it at IU, he had to call it stress reduction. They wouldn't let him just teach like meditation. So he had to call it stress reduction through meditation at the IU School of Public Health. David introduced us to many world religions, and that's where I gained my appreciation of many world religions. He's attended Buddhist retreats and Sangha meetings and continues to read widely on the topic of human spirituality. David and Natalie did not wake up to minus 19 degrees this morning because they have since moved to Richmond, California to be near their 2 sons and grandson, Oliver. So through the miracle of modern technology and the brilliance of Seb and Andy back there and their technical skills, I bring you Reverend David LeBeau.
Wow. My thanks to Susan, to Jana, to Seb, Andy, Dave, to Phyllis, and the choir, everybody who's made the service this morning up to this point what it is. I'm grateful to those of you there in the chapel who got yourselves up this morning in the cold. I mean, it's cold here in California, 43 degrees, but not like Bloomington. And my congratulations on getting the Unity bathtub removed. Wow. Been a dream for a long time. And adding the mystical moment. I think that's a wonderful addition. You know, there are healthy benefits to community. These benefits are real, and experts on healthy aging agree that along with exercise and a whole foods plant-based diet, staying connected with community, whether they're relatives or friends or part of a religious organization, it's important to help keep us well. As important as it is, communities won't maintain themselves. The Tuesday night Unity Book Study Group, which started in 1982, with my parents principally involved, lasted for many, many years and actually became Unity of Bloomington in 1989. But there are groups that meet for less than a year, families that drift apart, groups can wither like plants in need of water. There's a story about an old monastery that was failing, where the monks were having trouble getting along with each other. Each day they prayed together, they ate together, they worked together, but each monk also felt the critical eye of the abbot, who wanted each one of them to be perfect. Feeling a bit defensive, the other monks noted the obvious. Well, Brother Thomas was always late to meals and prayer, and he usually had ink on his hands from copying the Gospels. Brother Mark occasionally spoke during the quiet meals, just like he was out in the garden speaking to the plants. And of course, there was Brother Thaddeus, who was too loud and off-key during chanting. And Brother Simon, who was always trying too hard to please the abbot. All the monks found fault with each other and secretly with themselves. There were very few visitors to the old monastery these days, and no young men were training to take up the vow of brotherhood. The monks recognized the problem, and they complained that it was the young people who were just not serious these days. This parable points to the challenges in all communities between getting the outer work done and doing the inner work of self-care. Finding the balance isn't easy, and maintaining it isn't easy once it's found. In a monastery, the time of chanting and prayer should be a time of self-care, but in a critical environment, work like that can become one more thing that has to be done perfectly or correctly, adding stress rather than wholeness. This imbalance can arise in any community when we're feeling threatened by things like criticism, exclusion, impatience, or just rude behavior. We feel that first threat in our brainstem, that least evolved part of our brain, where the reaction will be an emotion like fear. That's designed to help us deal with threats to life and limb on the savannah that our ancestors shared with those not-so-friendly lions. We feel it before the more evolved part of our brain, our cerebral cortex, has a chance to analyze the behavior and decide, well, it's not really a threat here. The gap in between feeling and thinking means that we can say things and do things that make working in community more difficult. This is not good for our physical and mental health. In his book, Younger Next Year, the co-author with Henry S. Lodge, Chris Crowley writes, there's a terrible temptation in our 60s and 70s to close up shop, narrow our lives. In most cases, retirement really starts that process. And it's tempting to go along with the program, get narrower and narrower. Well, don't. It's killing us. We have to exercise our social pack and animal gifts as vigorously as we exercise our bodies. That means adding friends, doing more stuff, getting out there and getting involved, and nurturing and preserving the friends that we have. We need to do anything that gets us involved with other people. In his recent book, How to See a Person, columnist David Brooks writes about creating communities of truth. I found that an interesting label. Groups of people who are non-judgmentally exploring the words and ideas of others, practicing, trying on the perspective of others to experience the feelings and thoughts of someone else. In just a few words, getting outside of ourselves. Any group would be improved in its capacity to serve people's needs through members accepting each other unconditionally, through non-judgmental interaction. Turning any group, whether it's a book study group or a group of volunteers working to eradicate invasive plant species, into a community of truth would be beneficial to the quality of the work, to the self-esteem of the members. But there's a missing ingredient here. And that ingredient is how we get from where we are, reacting negatively to perceived criticism, to the unconditional acceptance and non-judgmental exploration of community with other people. So often in groups, the focus falls on external things, getting things done. And because they're external and easily judged, the egos of group members get tied up in them. With egos at stake, individuals can feel threatened by just a comment. The idea of devoting time to non-judgmentally exploring the words and ideas of others and trying on the perspective of others to experience the feelings and thoughts of someone else kind of gets shoved to that back burner. One result is meetings in which we watch the actual agenda get sidetracked by lengthy discussions of unrelated things. There is an earnest effort in business today to reduce the number of meetings and become more effective in meetings to increase productivity. Well, we can do that in the social sector, in the charitable sector. For instance, years ago I was asked to serve on the board of a charitable organization. It was hard for this organization to keep enough board members to even function. I soon saw why. Meetings ran way too long because so much time was spent talking about unrelated things. The board members were business people who were accustomed to being listened to, not so much listening to others. The president didn't want to interrupt or seem rude in order to rein in the discussion. Decisions that needed to get made weren't getting made, and meetings were not finishing on time. Otherwise, the charity functioned well under a capable director. So how could we stop the turnover in board members that was clogging up the program approval process? The next year I watched as a new president showed how to get meetings back on track. At the first opportunity, when things were starting to go off the rails, she would speak that person's name, which pulled their attention from their monologue, and with a very friendly attitude and a congenial tone of voice, she said, let's discuss that after we approve the budget or approve the preschool renovation or whatever work we really needed to get done. We'll do this discussion later. So one ingredient is managing our reactions. Let's look at how this might work. I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and let your attention rest on the feeling of your breath, of the gentle expansion as you breathe in, the contraction as you breathe out. And now imagine someone has something critical of your work or hijacked a meeting that you're in to talk about their vacation or been rude in some other way. What's the usual physical reaction? Our heart rate goes up, our breathing becomes more rapid and shallow, muscles in the shoulders and solar plexus may tighten up. When feeling these sensations attached to our anger or resentment, we can mentally acknowledge those feelings, perhaps even saying to ourselves, I'm angry now, well, that's okay. I resent being treated this way, but it's temporary. And this just coming back to our breath, affirming that we'll find non-judgmental ways or even compassionate ways to communicate with this person. Now, letting your eyes open, we can feel emotions, acknowledge those emotions without reacting and then opening our awareness to solutions. I remember working with this awareness when I was president of our neighborhood association. There were lots of meetings, and we agreed to do our catching up and storytelling after we got done with the things we needed to do, picking dates for the annual membership meeting, the neighborhood-wide garage sale, the ice cream social. But one annual membership meeting during an election year, we had agreed to let candidates speak for 5 minutes and just talk about what they wanted to accomplish. One candidate launched into his stump speech, blew through the time limit, began criticizing other candidates, and I could feel my reaction. I was annoyed. I was starting to feel frustrated when I remembered how to fix this. When he took the next breath, I thanked him by name, started clapping, all the members joined in, and erased any hope of his continuing. At first, he was surprised, and then he realized he wasn't keeping to his agreement for speaking to our group, just smiled and sat down. Another important ingredient for all of us to learn is to be unattached to our own thoughts or ideas. It's hard to listen openly and see the perspective of others if we're wedded to doing things our way or one way. We need to practice stepping back from our own thoughts and feelings. We'll do this practice a little bit later in the meditation. I got a chance to experience this process of avoiding conflict recently. Heeding Chris Crowley's advice to get involved, I volunteered for the Community Emergency Response Team in our condo complex where we have 468 units. And the main emergency that we're concerned about here in California is earthquakes. After going to one meeting and getting introduced to many of the members and the team leader, I was immediately pulled into the debate about getting a battery backup with a two-way radio in our emergency information center, which is really a closet with a radio. It became clear that the team leader was getting suggestions from a hyper-organized group across the street that had a very complex setup. They had ham radio set up as well as regular radio set up. And ours was really basic by comparison. Our battery committee had a very knowledgeable member who I realized, like me, was not attached to any particular approach, but he was attached to overanalyzing all the alternatives. I got this team member to give me training I needed to shut off all the water, power, gas, and in the case of an earthquake in my particular area. Then I turned to my two sons who had found suitable equipment to deal with power outages. Robert had a portable power station for his camping expeditions with friends who brought lots of techie stuff that needed power. Richard had a bigger unit to keep his refrigerator running in the frequent blackouts in his particular neighborhood. Their portable power stations had built-in inverters so that alternating current loads could be plugged directly into a battery that normally would produce just direct current. Solar panels could be used to recharge the power station in extended outages. I just explained the basics to our team leader and demonstrated how it worked and said I'd support whatever she wanted to do. We decided to get busy since our main concern was earthquakes, and we just had a 3.5. We now have a 2,000 watt battery backup power station with 2 solar panels, and we're a little bit more ready for the big one. Whether it's on the San Andreas fault or the Hayward fault won't make any difference. So managing our negative reactions internally with loving kindness for ourselves, being unattached to group decisions, and doing our best to see through the perspectives of community members are ingredients for healthy community. We make all this more likely by having an ongoing practice of stepping back from our thoughts, perhaps using mindfulness of breath or choiceless awareness as a regular meditation practice that can lead us into oneness with infinite mind, feeling our spiritual self within our physical self. Back at the monastery, things were about to change. There was a knock at the door. Simon, of course, hurried to open it. There stood old Bartholomew, a holy man of legend from the mountains in the north, a hermit monk all the brothers had heard about for his skill in healing and his ability to see into the souls of others. He broke bread with the brothers at the noon meal, prayed with them in the chapel, then he asked to see the abbot alone. In the abbot's office, he ignored the invitation to sit and instead stepped up close to the abbot and said, "Christ dwells in your midst." Then he turned and left the monastery. The abbot stood there in shock. He knew he looked for the return of Christ, but he never thought it would be one of the brothers in the monastery. He was looking for the most perfect brother, but none of these brothers were perfect. Then he remembered the time that Jesus lost his temper with the money changers in the temple and turned over their tables. Jesus had been unable to heal the sick in his own hometown, and he taught about forgiveness between the wealthy father and the prodigal son. So the abbot vowed to stop being critical and looked hard at the virtues of the brothers, wondering which one was the Christ in disguise. This behavior was noticed immediately. The words of old Bartholomew, which had been overheard by Simon, were spread to all the brothers. They were quite astonished, and they looked at each other in surprise. Which one of them could be the Christ? Surely not Brother Thomas, who never arrived at the chapel on time, who came to meals late with ink-stained hands, but who made the most beautiful and accurate copies of the Gospels. Surely not Brother Mark, who talked out loud to himself in the garden and at meals when he was supposed to be silent. But he was the best gardener the monastery had ever seen. Surely not Thaddeus, who sang so loud, but he had a smile for everyone and was a joy to sit next to during those long hours of chanting. From the abbot on down to the most junior brother, the monks began to treat each other as they would the Christ, giving their full attention, seeing the gifts the brothers were giving day in and day out, and trying to see the world through their eyes. They treated each other with kindness, looked for ways to serve one another, and they looked for the brother in their midst who was the Christ. And when they did this, a strange thing happened. The kindness and acceptance that they showed to one another, they also began to show to themselves. One by one, they each found the Christ spirit of unconditional love within themselves. The energy of their community changed from one of judgment to one of acceptance and joy. Visitors were graciously welcomed, and needs were immediately tended to. Meals were shared, rest was made available, hurts were healed, and word spread. The number of visitors increased, many just coming to sit quietly on the grounds and feel the love and compassion that seemed to abide in this place. Young men asked to join the community, and its vitality grew. It was said in the nearby villages that in the old monastery, the Spirit of Christ dwells in their midst. Unity is a community of truth, with people non-judgmentally exploring the words and ideas of others, open to the perspective of others so that we can all grow and flourish. Thank you for listening. Let's prepare for a mindfulness of breath and choiceless awareness meditation by listening to Phyllis.
In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, there is unspoken joy. In the silence, there's release from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments when I hear all that could never be said, and right here in this holy silence I find God, I find myself, I find God, I find myself.
Let your eyes gently close and your feet rest flat on the floor. Let your shoulders relax. And then let your awareness rest gently on your breath. Feeling the slight expansion as you breathe in, slight contraction as you breathe out. And let that continue for a few moments. Just be mindful of your breathing. No need to change anything, just your normal breath. Just in and out. And if the voice in your head starts up, or images pop in, just be a witness to the activity and softly label it thinking. Thinking. Just so, watching your mind think. Continuing, feel your breath. And let thoughts come in and let them go just as easily. If you want to enter into choiceless awareness, let your awareness move from your breath to how your body feels sitting here. Notice how your feet feel resting on the floor. Noticing your heartbeat, if you can feel that. Noticing the music that you can hear. Being fully aware of yourself in this moment. While sitting in the silence for a minute longer.
We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy.
Thank you. Let's prepare now to demonstrate our gratitude for what we continue to receive. There are a number of different ways that you can contribute financially to Unity of Bloomington. Blue baskets, checks or cash are always welcome to put in the blue baskets. Or you can use the text to give button on the screen. The number is right here. You could also use a credit card or debit card and go to our website and choose the donate button on our website. Unless you're sitting in the front row, in the seat pocket in front of you, you should find a couple of items. One is a prayer request form. If you'd like for our prayer team to join you, fill out one of these, put it in the love offering basket. And if you're a newcomer, we really appreciate hearing about your experience by filling out, it says, welcome newcomer. Share with us your initial impressions. Now, as the love offering bags are passed, you might want to bless the bags and their contents with just a simple gesture. So let's call the greeters forward. We are here. And we're going to join together in our abundance affirmation. Together, I am an abundant being in an abundant universe. I am not dependent on people or situations for my good. God is the source of my supply. I always have something to give, and I consistently give it. I expect the best, I give my best, and I now attract the best in every experience.
We are sisters joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters joined together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters joined together in love. Love, 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 joined together, together in love. Love, 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 joined together, together in love. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. Joy, brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in joy. Joy, 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 joined together, together in joy. Joy, 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 joined together, together in joy. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in peace. We are brothers, we are sisters, joined together in peace. Peace, 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 joined together, together in peace. Peace, 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 joined together, together in peace. Peace, 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 joined together, together in peace. Peace, 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 joined together, together in peace.
Now let's join together in blessing our offering. The greeters will come forward. Together, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. And now Joni Spain, is our board president, is going to acknowledge our newest members at Unity of Bloomington, Sierra Reed and Michelle Demarie. Please come forward. you, Michelle. So hopefully you've all noticed the lovely spread of goodies we have on the back table. You're all invited to stay for our potluck lunch and then to join in the workshop that David LeBeau is presenting from 12:30 to 2. The topic is Exploring the Dynamics for Living. There is childcare available if that's appropriate for you. A couple of other things coming up this Wednesday. Board meeting, 5:30 p.m. They're open meetings. Anyone is welcome. Next Sunday, January 21st, next Sunday, after the service, will be another A Course in Miracles workshop, and that will be led by Reverend Karen Williams. Following Sunday, a new opportunity. Faith in Place. It's a Faith in Place workshop. What is that about? Well, Unity of Bloomington is forming a green team, and we're going to be part of a much larger movement that addresses environmental issues in our community. So after the service, January 28th, we'll have our first presentation/workshop as to what this is about and what it's going to look like for us at Unity of Bloomington, a green team. And as mentioned, February 25th is our annual membership meeting, and that, again, is immediately after the Sunday service. You know, this transition also provides us the opportunity to have a variety of speakers each Sunday to experience the talent that exists in our own community. Next week, we will hear again from Reverend Karen Williams, Turning Our Attention to Home. The following week, members Tana McElhaney and Michael May will partner and present Manna equals free pizza and wine. Now, if you read that online, that'd be considered clickbait. Free pizza and wine. But in this case, I guess we're just incentivizing you to come find out. February 4th, we're going to have another Zoom experience. This time it will be with Reverend Ron Fritz as speaker. And he's going to tackle the small subject of, what is God? Then on February 11th, Joni Spain, who we've heard from today, is going to be our speaker on February 11th. And now, as we near the end of our service together, we're going to say the prayer for protection. Together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And before we sing our closing song, let's just bless this food that is going to nourish our bodies and our souls. Amen. And you know what? Another silent prayer. I can't help but have my heart go out to all of our unhoused neighbors and pets who are waking up in this weather without a warm home to relax in. So I invite you, if your heart is called as well, to just say a silent prayer of comfort for those neighbors. May it warm their hearts and their souls and all the way down to their toes. And now let's gather and sing our closing song, Let There Be Peace on Earth.